Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tidale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Pastatya Deshatarine. My Dandavat Pranam, I wanted to have the opportunity on this Tirubhav Mahotsav of our Srila Prabhupada to be able to offer some Pushpanjali at his lotus feet. There really is no prospect for me to genuinely glorify our Srila Prabhupada. If a person glories are self-evident, you cannot add to it. You can only really try to invoke their mercy or their kripa. So our Srila Prabhupada's glories are self-luminous, self-effulgent. But by attempting to offer some appreciation of his personage, we are able to perhaps invoke that he'll have so much mercy on us. I think in this life I had such good fortune. I'm always praying that I can take advantage of that good fortune, but the good fortune is that I've had the opportunity to have the darshan, at least, of many high class of eternal associates of Shri Radha Krishna Yugal and Sriman Mahaprabhu. In 1972, I had the opportunity to have the darshan for the first time of our Srila Prabhupada in Henry Street in Brooklyn, New York. At that time, I was feeling that this somehow or another was an arrangement for the reinvigoration of my spiritual life, because I thought, in retrospect, obviously not at the time, that there would be no way for me to meet a person like this had it not been from some mercy in a previous lifetime. The darshan of Siddha Mahapurushas is very, very rare. And sadhu sangha, sava sastrukoi, lava matra sadhu sangha, sava siddhi hoy. So the opportunity that by taking the darshan and hearing the Hari Katha of high-class Mahapurushas like our Srila Prabhupada, it gives the facility that even if not in this life, in some life, the prospect of attaining the ultimate goal of life, which is Krishna Prem, becomes possible. So I cannot adequately repay by words, by deeds, by any means, the opportunity even to have the darshan of his lotus feet at that time in 1972. Of course, while I was in college in 1975, after having attended the temple for quite some time, I decided to live ashram life, and I took a leave from college and went to live in the ashram in Los Angeles in 1975. And there, especially because Los Angeles was the headquarters of our Srila Prabhupada in the Western world, I was able to really see the prabhav, or the influence of our Srila Prabhupada. One of the godbrothers of our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Goswami Maharaj, his disciple, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he was, I think, compiling a book about the godbrothers of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Goswami Maharaj, and he was writing the pranam mantras. Of course, our Srila Prabhupada already had a pranam mantra, but when he requested Srila Prabhupada, what mantra would you like me to write? Srila Prabhupada told him that he could write as he felt for glorification he could write. So one part of his pranam to our Srila Prabhupada was, Guru Agya Sirasi Dharani Shaktya Vesha Swarupine. That our Srila Prabhupada had taken the order of his Guru Padapadma, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and that he had taken that order and placed it on his head. And having placed that order on his head, he received the mercy of the empowerment of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is Akanda Guru Tattva. So the full principle of what is Guru is present in Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And especially, even though Baladev is original Guru Tattva, because Baladev Prabhu is a personification of Seva Vastu Seva Vritti, the mood and the attitude and the substance of serving Krishna. But the mercy of how to disseminate that attitude of serving and developing the substance of serving appears in Sri Nityananda Tattva. Nityananda Tattva is so merciful that it is the only incarnation that shed blood to deliver the jivas. So, our Srila Prabhupada also very much fit this category. To deliver Jaggai and Madai, Nityananda Prabhu shed blood. So what to speak, how much blood in the form of time, effort, energy, and so many things. Even Srila Prabhupada in his coming to the Western world to fulfill the order of his Gurudev, and not only the order of his Gurudev, I'll speak a little bit later about his fulfillment of the prophecy of Mahaprabhu. But in order to do that, how many Jaggai and Madais did our Srila Prabhupada encounter and shed blood by his energy to help deliver them? We have to understand that our Srila Prabhupada was living in what he called his home in the Rasa Stali at Radha Damodar temple, tasting daily through Harinam the inner moods of his eternal relationship with Mahaprabhu and Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugal. He was living there in the association of Jiva Goswami Pad, Rupa Goswami Pad, Vilas Manjari and Rupa Manjari, and fully absorbed in his inner mood. But this order that he had placed on his head, that had been given to him by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, created in him a compassion which is unparalleled. So he came to the Western world to deliver so many Jaggai and Madais, and in coming to the West, though he's the crown jewel of sadhus, he was not offered a first-class ticket on an airplane. He was not met at the airport by very high-class socialites and offered a Upper West Side residence. Rather, he came to the Jaggai and Madai Stali, means the places of Jaggai and Madais, like the Bowery in New York. And there, he manifested the empowerment of Nityananda. So, I remember once many years ago, I'm speaking very informally because I want to offer from my heart. So, I remember many years ago, I was discussing with one devotee, and I mentioned how our Srila Prabhupada was empowered by Nityananda Prabhu. And the devotee expressed some doubt that, to say that Prabhupada is empowered by Nityananda Prabhu, does it not take away from his glory? Because, and I waited and patiently heard his doubt, and then I explained to him, you cannot see that what kind of Vaishnav, what kind of Mahapurush Srila Prabhupada must be, that Nityananda Prabhu would use our Srila Prabhupada to be the vehicle by entering his heart and giving all Shakti to Srila Prabhupada. Actually, one of the most quoted verses in Srila Prabhupada's books, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tava Pavartan, that unless one is specifically empowered by the Lord, one could not preach like this. This is one of the most quoted verses in Srila Prabhupada's writings. So I was saying that you can't understand how glorious it is that Nityananda Prabhu would take up residence in the heart of Srila Prabhupada and utilize our Srila Prabhupada to fulfill his seva abhista to his Guru Padma, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And moreover, from that perspective, Nityananda Prabhu is always fulfilling the desires of Sriman Mahaprabhu. It was Sriman Mahaprabhu that told Nityananda, hey, Suno Nityananda, Suno Haridas. He called him and said, listen, I want you to go out and preach in Bengal everywhere. And of course, Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu, their first objects of their mercy and affection was Jagai Madai. You understand? So here, Srila Prabhupada, as I mentioned earlier, not only was fulfilling the desire of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sriman Mahaprabhu was told, Pritviya Chayata Nagararivam Savatrapacha Hoibe Mon Nam, that this Hari Nam, it would spread to every town and village. So probably in even considering that prophecy, many people would have considered if Srila Prabhupada had spread Krishna consciousness just on the Indian subcontinent, that would have been the fulfillment of Mahaprabhu's prophecy. Because the vision of some people is every town and village of India. You understand? But actually, the prophecy of Mahaprabhu was every town and village. So we saw that that prophecy was fulfilled in our Srila Prabhupada in a short span of 11 to 12 years. He manifested Harinam in literally almost every town and village. Either his direct presence or his prabhav or his influence through his followers and disciples, he manifested that prophecy of Mahaprabhu in every town and village literally. Because even in those places where there was not the physical manifestation, there was the influence of our Srila Prabhupada. What is karma? What is vegetarianism? What is considerations about a personal form of God? All these conceptions were given by our Srila Prabhupada. But even more than that, when Srila Prabhupada was fulfilling the prophecy of Mahaprabhu, he wasn't just manifesting the Nam Akshar. It means he wasn't just manifesting that in so many places throughout the world, people would sing the Hare Krishna mantra composed of 32 syllables. Rather, all of the deep conceptions regarding Harinam, all of those things were also given by our Srila Prabhupada. Because if you look how he had translated Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the son and bonum of all the teachings of all Sastra, coming in the line of Mahaprabhu. Because Swarup Damodar told that if anybody wants to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Yaha Bhagavata Prabha Vaishnavera Stani Ekanta Atsraya Chaitanya Chanani. You cannot understand the most glorious Sastra Srimad Bhagavatam without taking shelter of the line of Sriman Mahaprabhu. So our Srila Prabhupada manifested also that Chaitanya Charitamrita. You understand? With the highest conceptions of Radha Krishna Yugul Upasan. So our Srila Prabhupada not only gave Namakshar, or the singing of 32 syllables of the Hare Krishna mantra, but he gave all of the deep understanding that's contained within that mantra. That mantra is Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasvigraha. That Hare Krishna mantra, composed of those 32 syllables, 16 names, 8 yugul especially, and even how those 8 yugul manifesting the Ashtakaliya Leela throughout 8 periods of the day, and the prem that's inherent in that Leela, and that prem causes those 8 yugul to become one form of Mahaprabhu. All these deep conceptions were manifested by our Srila Prabhupada. Not only that, but our Srila Prabhupada, he was the person who opened the floodgate. The teachings of Mahaprabhu were like a very deep ocean, like a deep ocean contained in a treasure chest. And we say that if Arup Goswami Pad had not come, then that treasure chest of Mahaprabhu's conceptions filled with prem would not have been opened. But if our Srila Prabhupada had not come, that treasure chest with all of the elements of that prem that Mahaprabhu came to give would not have manifested as he desired in every town and village. So Srila Prabhupada did not just spread the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, he spread the Swarup of Harinam, which is the Hari Katha given by our entire Guru Varga. Srila Prabhupada would stay up throughout the night translating. I remember while I was living in Los Angeles in 1975, I witnessed the marathon that manifested the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I thought how just externally the power of Srila Prabhupada must be there. How his daily schedule was, how he was traveling around the world constantly. Still he was manifesting the translation of all of our Goswami's writings and still maintaining, inspiring and nurturing and a whole international and worldwide movement. So our Srila Prabhupada's glories are beyond the capacity of anyone to describe. I would say even Ananta Sesh cannot describe the glories of our Srila Prabhupada. But I know Ananta Sesh would certainly have in his heart that mood that our Srila Prabhupada should be glorified like that. Also, Srila Prabhupada opened the door for many high class of sadhus to come into the worldwide arena and bestow their mercy. They saw, oh, our Swami Maharaj, those who are godbrothers or intimately related with Srila Prabhupada via the Gaudiya Math, they saw, oh, our Guru Bhai, his mercy is so extreme. He's opened wide the doors of the entire world as Mahaprabhu desired. And now the treasure of Mahaprabhu's teachings, they can be taken to the Western world by walking the path that he had already laid for that to happen. My own Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa, Astottara Sutta Sisimat, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. He often told that when I was traveling, coming to the Western world, one whole part of my mission in coming was to take darshan of the holy places that our Srila Prabhupada had placed his lotus feet and had inaugurated the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I was there even in 1996 with Srila Gurudev when we went to Tompkins Square Park, where Srila Prabhupada, of course, inaugurated in New York City his Harinam Kirtan. And 26 Second Avenue, where Srila Prabhupada had his first external preaching facility. So, even the most high class of Mahapurushas, they come, and this was also others like Bhakti Balatit Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj. They all said similar things, that they wanted to take darshan of the Leelastans of our Srila Prabhupada's fulfillment of the prophecy of Mahaprabhu. So they traveled to the Western world in service to his path of opening the door, so to speak, to bring the conceptions and the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu. So the glory of our Srila Prabhupada again is unlimited. And we can only beg that he will bestow his causeless mercy. In this tithi, this day in 1977, our Srila Prabhupada entered into Samadhi. What is Samadhi? Samadhi. The self-realized Mahapurushas always live in three states of consciousness. Antradasha, their internal mood, and their eternal Siddha Roop, in which they're always serving Shri Radha Krishna Yuga and also Sriman Mahaprabhu. Then Adbhaya Dasha. They also have sometimes external and internal consciousness at the same time. And then Bahir Dasha. In their Bahir Dasha, they also are fully absorbed in the service of the Ishtadev by preaching and teaching others how to obtain the path of pure bhakti. So Samadhi means when Sri Guru enters into the state of Antradasha, internal consciousness, absorbed in their Siddha Deha, in their eternal service to Radhakrishna Yugal and Sriman Mahaprabhu. So Srila Prabhupada has not died or left the world or these things. Very important teaching about this in the Jaiva Dharma. That Jnana Chandra Goswami, when he ran into some difficulty after the disappearance of Gopal Guru Goswami, and he had some issues that had to be resolved, he heard from one person who had come back from Vrindavan, "Oh, your Gurudev is not missing out, dead or anything. I saw him in Vrindavan." So that must have also been very high-class Vaishnav that he saw Sri Dhyan Chandra Goswami still in his Sadhu group in Vrindavan. But then Dhyan Chandra Goswami went there and took the advice of his Guru. So any devotee who has very deep, high-class mood of service towards his Gurudev realizes Gurudev never leaves us. My Guru Padma told, "I will never leave you. I will always be here." And also, not just in sound and in their teachings, but in their mood of inspiration in your heart. If you're doing any kind of mature Southern bhajan, how is it possible for you to consider it's happening if your Guru Padma is not present? How is it possible for us to think that we're doing bhajan at all if we're not under the anugatya of Guru? And the anugatya of Guru doesn't mean just a philosophical or theoretical idea that Guru is giving teaching and inspiration. No, every day I'm getting up to touch the lotus feet of my Guru. Utishtasasto Shri Guru Tajan Kripamoya. And then singing whole Guru Ashtakam to my Guru Padma's lotus feet. And there's my Guru Padma who's guiding me in how to serve Thakurji, how to do everything. So Gurudev is always there. So just think how Srila Prabhupada, so merciful, that he maintains for those mature, sincere disciples, he is constantly with them and guiding them. And guiding also this movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whatever difficulties or other kinds of issues may be there, that's our fault. Right? That's our fault. But the overall purity of the mission and teachings of Mahaprabhu can never again be destroyed. Because our Srila Prabhupada has established them. He has done not only some stapakam of dharma, some stapakam of many temples and pran pratishtha ceremonies, but he has some stapakam of also the pure teachings of Mahaprabhu. And now those pure teachings are manifest in this world. So anyone who wants to obtain pure bhakti has this avenue to do so. Understand? So I'm praying for the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada. I have so many fond memories. I remember that after having had the first darshan of Srila Prabhupada, when he came to Henry Street, it was a small sort of brownstone house, basically. And when Srila Prabhupada was coming in, of course, there was a very huge crowd, and I was standing on a staircase in that temple. And as the crowd came in, it just got sort of overwhelming, so I had to move, and I continuously moved until I found myself on the second floor. And obviously, once devotees got into the temple room and were a little settled, I was able to come back down the staircase, but I couldn't even fit in the temple room because so many devotees were there. And I remember, again in 1976, I believe it was, that when Srila Prabhupada had come to New York for Rath Yatra, I went to the temple to also receive his darshan. I took a friend along with me. And I remember that in 1972, what had happened. So when I saw that Srila Prabhupada's car had pulled up, I went into the hallway. And this was now at the 55th Street Temple, which was the huge sort of building that was there in the main part of Manhattan in New York. That was a very huge project of our Srila Prabhupada that was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. And as I saw Srila Prabhupada come out and many devotees pay their obeisances, rather than running outside, I told my friend we should pay our obeisances here. So we paid our obeisances sort of in the hallway area, and then we ran back into the temple room and positioned ourselves near the Vyasasan. Now, mind you, we had on blue jeans and t-shirts and so forth and so on. We were not living in the temple. So obviously, as the crowd came in and the kirtan came in, and now Srila Prabhupada took darshan of Sri Radha Govinda and came back and then sat on the Vyasasan. When he sat down, we immediately sat down in that very spot, not too far away from the Vyasasan. So I told my friend, we just kind of, bundled up next to each other, and I said, just don't move no matter what happens. And I remember as many of the senior Vaishnavas came in, and I begged their mercy and their forgiveness, they looked at us as though we should move. We're just, apparently just some karmis sitting there, and we're trying to sit in too close a proximity to the Vyasa-san. And I remember finally some sannyasis who were, I guess, coming in later, they also looked at us with the indication that we should move. And I remember that energy was kind of in the air for some time, and then our Srila Prabhupada finally put his hand up and he said, "Leave them alone." So I took it that, this was again some extreme mercy of Srila Prabhupada on me, that somehow or another he put me in a position, maybe because I had any kind of inkling of desire, that I would have an opportunity to be even close in proximity to the lotus, the Harikatha coming from his lotus mouth. Srila Prabhupada spoke very simply, at that time, but they were so full of his own inner realizations and inner mood that to be in proximity to the transcendental particles of influence which were emanating from the lotus mouth of our Srila Prabhupada was, a heart-transforming experience. In the third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, it mentions, Santam prasangamamaveya samvido, pavantirit kalana rasanayakata. That when we hear the Harikatha of true sadhus, Santam means sadhus, when you hear true sadhus speak Harikatha, Mamavirya Samvad, in their Samvad, in their Harikatha, Swarup Shakti is fully present there. It means the internal energy, spiritual energy of Bhagavan is fully present. So even if the person is not very mature in bhakti, still, Bhavanti Rit Karana Rasanaya Katha, that Harikatha filled with the internal potency of God Himself enters into the heart and causes transformation. You understand? If a devotee is very mature, then when it enters the heart, then the Rasa Samagri that's in that Harikatha touches the devotee. If the devotee is not mature, in the process of maturing, then that same Rasa Samagri becomes Rasayana, like medicine. And it is that very medicine, Tad Josarasu Appabhagavatmani, Shraddha Rati Bhakti Anukramishati. Then that very power coming from the lotus mouth of that sadhu, it creates the ability to give liberation from this material influence and put us on the path first by faith, then to bhav, and then finally to obtain that ultimate goal of prema bhakti. So in that circumstance, to be able to hear from the lotus mouth of Srila Prabhupada, even in the most mundane condition, was transformational. I take it that later on that blessing manifested because my elder brother, Haridas Prabhu, he met me because he would attend the Rath Yatra every year, so he also met me on Fifth Avenue. And we knew that our Srila Prabhupada would get on the cart of Subhadra. So I told him, you should grab one rope very near the cart, and I would grab the other one, so we were opposite to each other, and don't move. So of course, Srila Prabhupada, I can't remember where, but he gets on the cart at a certain point. And so we're able to be pulling that very cart with Srila Prabhupada down Fifth Avenue and being able to gaze at the illumination of our Srila Prabhupada's smiling face. And sometimes Srila Prabhupada was many moods were there. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would be smiling, other times his face would appear grave, but he was so absorbed because he was witnessing that one of the pinnacle leelas of our theology was being manifest on one of the largest stages of the world, Fifth Avenue, New York City. Many devotees, they go to Rath Yatra each year and they see that there's a grand festival and there's so much preaching and so many, people are being benedicted by seeing the darshan of Sri Jagannath. But what is the inner mood of this whole festival? Krishna Vajalana Jai E Bhavantra. Even which did not take place in Srimad Bhagavatam. When Akrura came and he took Krishna to Mathura, and the most pitiful scene takes place in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then for some 50, 60, 70 years, Krishna has not returned to Vrindavan. And then the Brijavasis finally meet Krishna at Kurukshetra during the Surya Grahan, the solar eclipse, and still beg for him to come back to Vrindavan. But he says, no, still there's some work to be done, and he doesn't return. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's return to Vrindavan is not mentioned. Of course, in the commentary of our Acharyas, they mention some return, and obviously in Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami, he mentions that after killing Dantavakra, Krishna crossed the Jamuna and returned to Vrindavan. So, but following the chain of the Leela in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna did not return. But in Gaur Leela, that thing which was not accomplished in Krishna's Leela, as it's spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam, was accomplished when Krishna himself would become absorbed in the mood of Radharani. At that time, in the form of the Rath Yatra, Krishna is taken from Dwarka back to Vrindavan in the form of the Gundicha temple. So, Radhika's desire to see Krishna brought back to Vrindavan under the influence of her control, because Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Radharani, only saw that Jagannath Dev was Shri Krishna himself. You understand? So she saw that Krishna was being pulled on this chariot and being brought back to Vrindavan. You understand? So this real deep mood of Rath Yatra, Srila Prabhupada was witnessing it on display on Fifth Avenue in New York City. You understand? But how much we could digest at that time, we only thought, oh, this is a very big festival, so many people, thousands of people, so much prasadam being distributed, so much preaching going on, and the crest jewel of preachers in the line of Mahaprabhu was seated on this cart and was being pulled down Fifth Avenue in New York City. But the inner mood of Rath Yatra was fully unfolding in the heart of our Srila Prabhupada. So I take that it was great mercy that myself and my elder brother Haridas, we were able to witness, even though we could not digest those moods at that time, we could witness that this phenomenon had happened. So of course all of these samskars and impressions remained in my heart and still do to this day. And so on this day, the Avirbhav and the Tirobhav of Vaishnavas is equally glorious. That's why we say Nitya Lila Pravishta, that they have entered into the Nitya Lila, which is a very joyous occasion. At the same time, there's always a deep mood of separation from those Vaishnavas. But the Tirobhav and Avirbhav of Vaishnavas also teach a great lesson. The essence of love of God is also meeting and separation. And the pinnacle of praying is expressed in Ujjalini Muni, that the pinnacle of praying is Vipralambika Pradhurbhav, means when the separation mood becomes so deep that it causes Milan. You understand? So the Avirbhav and Tirobhav of Vaishnavas gives the seed of understanding that highest class of love, Vipralambika Pradhurbhav, how in the depth of separation from those Vaishnavas that we find meeting with them. You understand? And where will we meet? Where will be the place of that meeting? In your daily Sadhan Bhajan. As you're doing your Sadhan Bhajan, that is the place where the Milan of the true Sishya and the Guru and Guru Parampara take place. So I'm praying for the causeless mercy of our Srila Prabhupada, that He will bestow His causeless mercy on everyone, but I'm also praying desperately that He will bestow His causeless mercy on me. I consider by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada that He gave me contact with my eternal Guru Padapadma, Nitya Lila Pravishnom Pad Paramaksasa Sismat, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Nayan Goswami Maharaj, because also whoever is your Guru is your Sadguru, if the person is truly Guru. You understand? So I consider that was the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that I was given the mercy to again meet my Sadguru and to develop more of the progressive march towards the ultimate goal of life. The last thing is that I also want to beg all devotees that in the name of our Srila Prabhupada and our Srila Prabhupada's strong desire and the desire of all of the Guru Vargas, that we should begin to operate and come together as one family. This was a great desire of our Srila Prabhupada, that we should see that there's not this mat, that mat, all these different mats and sanghas. They were designed only to expand the possibility of serving our Guru Varga. They were never meant to become antagonistic elements. They were always meant to become expansions of the service to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. So I'm begging on this day that the causeless mercy of our Srila Prabhupada will descend and eradicate any sense of sectarianism and make us one family of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Today also in the mundane world is the idea of election, and you're hearing constantly how this particular election is so consequential and it has a great effect on the future of the world. Well, our meditation on this day is very consequential because we should all strongly meditate on the full mercy of our Srila Prabhupada being manifest in the world. That will be the true consequential positive outcome. If we can manifest the full mercy of Srila Prabhupada by our cooperation, seeing ourselves as one family of Mahaprabhu. Jai Dandavat Pranam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasandhavebhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Parampara ki Jai. Jai Radhe Radhe.